ruthless. I want us to be ruthless in front of goal, and that's what I'm looking for. That's why, even though it was a Series B team, that 6-2 told me something that was like, we're still coming, which Bielsa's sides did. But sometimes we struggled to put them away, even though we were creating chances and running them off the pitch. We didn't get that final goal, and so that's what I'm hoping for comes to fruition. Go ahead.
I think it will. And what I really liked, and the ruthless thing is, I thought was glaringly obvious on Sunday. I mean, tap-ins and OGs. I want to see them all day long. I go back to, I think it was Alex Ferguson's last year as Manchester United manager. I hate to use a Manchester United reference, but just to prove a point, Manchester United's second highest top goal scorer that season was OGs. They got into positions where they just drilled balls across the box from like really tight areas, and they hit off people and went in. And if you look at Aaronson, for example, like his assists, 3 assists, they were all in tight, bar the absolute wonderful pass that he played from long distance. The other ones were in and around the box in tight areas. And then Rodrigo's goal, essentially it's an OG, but they're putting themselves in positions where there's bodies in the box, not all areas, but there's bodies in the box and there's pressure on them, and it's a quick attack, so people are facing the wrong way, they're running back towards their goal, and then some mistakes happen. And I think Leeds looked like they were, like, when we got the 4th goal, I thought, okay, that'll calm us down now. We've just conceded 2, we've got the 4th, that'll be it for the rest of the game. I fully expect him to empty the bench at that stage. He didn't. And they just kept going and kept going and kept going and looking for a 5th and a 6th, and they were still going after a 6 and could have had more. And I love that. I love that. I'm happy to give up possession if we're going to score more goals, because just because you've got possession doesn't mean you're gonna win a game. You know, we saw that last time. We dominated teams in possession and we get caught in the counter attack, or teams would nick a goal. And to your point, Alex, we didn't kill teams off when we had the chance. We didn't have bodies in the box. Like, I felt so sorry for Dan James last year. Not only the stick that he got from people, but this is a winger playing up front for the first time in his career. And all of the pressure of keeping Leeds up is on his shoulders, and he's not a finisher. And he's expected to do it. So you look at that and go, well, even if we did create chances last year, chances are we weren't going to score them because we don't have a natural finisher in there. This year, I think it's different. I think if you look across the park, you got Rodrigo looks like a different player. He looked really confident in front of goal, wasn't afraid to shoot. Bamford looked relieved when he scored his first. You could see it on his face, which is great. Aaronson looks like he's going to have goals and assists in him. I can't wait to see him in the Premier League. I think he's going to be an absolute star. And then you look at Rocket behind him as well. He's super creative. And then you bring in James, you bring in, who else am I forgetting about here? Harrison. I think Harrison's going to have more goals because he'd be in a much closer area to the goal. And I think you'll see Jack get a lot more goals as well. So I think all of a sudden it looks really good from an attacking perspective. Sort out the back issues. And I think when we do score goals, I think we'll score a lot.
Yeah, I love it. This is going to be, you're getting me excited about the season. What do you,
my shoulders.
Yeah. What do you, who's the attacking player you feel most excited about?
It's Aaronson. Yeah, Aaronson. And I was relatively excited. Like when we were linked with him at Christmas and I saw him playing playing in Europe against Bayern Munich, especially the first game they played against Bayern Munich, I was really excited about him. I thought, this kid's good. Then you look at the transfer fee that went with him, you're like, you kind of have to be good now. That's a lot of money. It's pretty close to the Rodrigo fee. It's in the 20s of millions. It's a lot of money for Leeds. You kind of have to be good. But he doesn't seem to have any pressure on his shoulders at all. He plays with a complete freedom. Like the distances he covers on the pitch are excellent. His passing range is excellent. He gets in around the box. He's not afraid to try and get shots away. He looks for players. And his link-up play is really, really, really good.
He wants the ball. He looks like he wants the ball. Yeah.
There's no fear. Zero fear with him at all. And what I really liked was the intricate little triangles around the edge of the box that you were getting from Aaronson, Bamford, and Rodrigo working together, and these little pairs and these little balls around the corner, and he was running onto them, then square balls back. That's rehearsed stuff. Like that's 3 players who've been working on these patterns of play every single week in preseason. You can see that they like it and it's working. And if that clicks first day of the season or even a couple of weeks into the season, I think teams are going to be very worried about Aaronson. I hope we have him on a very long and locked down contract. I hope there's a massive buyout clause in that contract, because I think by the end of the season, clubs are going to be looking for him. I think he, as we said, there's no fear there. He's a super exciting player. And as you said, he wants the ball, but when he gets it, his first thought is forward. Go forward straight away. Like it's not sideways or backwards. It's give me the ball, we're going that way. And he instigates a lot of the moves, and I love that. I love that about him. I think he's going to catch a lot of teams off guard this year.
I'm excited about him.
You're asking me loads of questions. Who's the player you're most looking forward to?
I'm excited about Aaronson. I told some USMNT people on social media that Aaronson will wind up with more goals and assists than Pulisic, and I've gotten murdered for that. Pulisic will play. He'll play starting 12 games, a CL game. Yeah, the cup games. He's second or third on that Chelsea squad. I think he's as talented. I think he's more refined than Aaronson at this point of his career. I, as an American, believe that Chelsea brought him in to sell jerseys, unfortunately. So I think Aaronson is class, and I think his brother's class, and from a U.S. perspective, I think he's going to be a star, as well as Adams is going to be more of a bruiser, and he'll pick up some cards. It'll be interesting to see both of these guys. The knock on them from America too has been their lack of physical stature thus far. They will be challenged in this way, but they're young kids, they're tough kids. So we'll see how a full season plays out for them. But I think that there's a ton of potential, and I think that they know the system, and I think they got no fear. That's what you love too.
I love Adams. I love the way Adams is in everyone's face. He comes across as this real quiet, nice kid in his interviews when he joined Leeds, and then you see him getting in Jordan Ayew's face after him leaving the foot in a little bit, and he's squaring up to this guy who's a foot and a half taller than him. He's not afraid of you, pal. And then there was one of the Leeds players said something to him at one point about a tackle that he made, and he just turned around and you could see by his face whatever he was saying back wasn't nice, but he wasn't taking any crap from anybody. I like that. We need that. Calvin Phillips was that player for us who would just break up people, get the ball past it. We need that. And I think those kind of players are always become fan favorites in Leeds. I mean, Christensen is already being spoken about as fan favorite, he's the new Berardi, he's the warrior. I'm going, by the end of the season, Tyler Adams is going to be that player. People are going to be talking about Tyler Adams by the end of the year. He might not be the flashiest player we've got, but he's one of probably the most effective players that we need. He'll break up the play, he'll keep it simple, he'll start the attacks, he'll win it, pass it to Rocket, and then we're gone. That's how I think it will work. And I think having these players who are not afraid to mix it up and get in people's faces and be a bit aggressive when they need to be. Leeds have a reputation, and we should lean into it. We should be a tough team to play against. People should not want to play against. We should rough teams up. We've been very good at that, and I'd love to see that happen again. And I think Aaronson from the other side will entice a lot of fouls. I think he will encourage people to foul them, and we'll get a lot of free kicks, and teams will get a lot of yellow cards just because of how he plays. So different ends of the same coin. But I think they're both can be very effective. I can say this to you, Alex, and you'll understand what I mean. Just because they're from America doesn't mean they can't play football. There's this tag of being, he's an American, he can't play soccer, and then there's Jesse Marsh is American, so he can't coach soccer. And I heard someone say something about America a long time ago. If the Americans ever get football right, they'll dominate world football. If they ever get the system of it right, and you look at it, what the American system has done with the women's game, they have that locked down. It's one of the biggest and best teams in the world. You're looking at a crop of American players coming through, and America are a top 5 ranked team in the world. And you've got 2 players from that national team. If you said to anyone else, we're going to sign 2 players from a country who are in the top 5 in the world, you would rub your hands together and go, brilliant. But that stigma because they're American is ridiculous. And what's going to happen is a lot of people are going to look silly who said a lot of things about them when they were signed, because from what I've seen of them so far and what I've seen them playing for the national team, these are 2 very, very high quality players who will be very effective for Leeds.
Yeah, I mean, I think we got athletes here, and I think that the sport is continuing to grow. It's slower than I think a lot of people wanted. It's the MLS, if I read the reports correctly, I think they passed hockey, and they might have passed baseball.
Wow.
For the 3rd biggest league now in the United States, outside of the NFL and and basketball, NBA. So I think, it's going to happen. I think the athletes are here. And it's just a matter of, this World Cup will do a lot for the game in the United States.
Yeah.
Especially every sports fan, whether doesn't matter what they like, baseball, hockey, American football, will be watching that game on Black Friday here after they're, doing whatever they need to do with their families because it's Thanksgiving. Everybody's off those 4 days.
Yeah.
So that Friday, almost every single TV set will be watching that game. Passive fans will be watching that game that know nothing about the sport, that can't even name a player.
Yeah.
Will watch that game against England. And so there's a lot of pressure on that game. If we get throttled, I think even